Good evening, everyone, and I'd like to welcome each and every one of you to this week from Rockdale, the midweek report. Uh, you know what, guys? It has been one heck of a midweek. Uh, I'll tell you some things tonight. I am probably going to say something here. I'm going to probably piss some people off tonight, but better to be pissed off than pissed on. That's what I've always said. So it's a little bit of humor there. I don't know how it's going to be taken, but it is what it is. So welcome tonight, C.J. Lester, William Campbell, Kathy Ward, Laura Skelton, Mary Lee Bosworth, Charlotte Gellert. Uh, uh, and guys, I just want to thank each and every one of you for just helping me out with doing some things. I want to give a special shout out to Laura Skelton. She actually helped me today with uh, covering the West Avenue this morning with holding the big sign so that I could actually go to my office and do some work today. I really appreciate that. Marie Withers came out the day before yesterday, and she actually relieved me so I could go to lunch holding the sign. So, guys, I just want to say anybody out there that wants to come by West Avenue and wants to do a shift, an hour, 2 hours holding the sign, waving at people, it's enjoyable. You get to meet other campaigners out there, other people that are running for office, and you get to it's a great interactive experience, and you get to learn some people. EFAT walkers out there, so I recommend somebody to volunteer just to come hold a sign, so you can get a chance to talk to EFAT Walker about what she wants to do uh, if when elected to the commission. Because I don't think it's if EFAT gets elected, guys. I just with what I feel in the atmosphere and what I see going on, I actually see EFAT pulling an upset here, beating an incumbent and actually becoming the next post two commissioner of Rockdale County. So I think that's going to happen. Not going to jinx her. She's going to keep doing the work, putting the time in. But I do think that EFAT is going to pull a little bit of an upset here and win this thing. So, but you guys need to keep coming out, doing what you're doing, voting, doing all that, and I want to thank everybody for I've been getting a lot of people commenting, calling me up, telling me to keep it up about the SPLOST. They're 100% behind me, and thank you, and I appreciate it. And we're going to talk about the SPLOST tonight because we've had some interesting developments. So when I first began this process with the Rockdale voter and our supporters, I informed everybody that we had filed our paperwork and became an official committee to be able to oppose the SPLOST. The way Georgia law works, Georgia election law, if there is a non-candidate issue and the SPLOST is considered a non-candidate issue, then an organization or committee that will be working to either approve or disapprove, to vote for or a vote against, those individuals, if they are going to spend more than $500, must file a document they get from the Campaign Ethics and Finance Commission. Now, once they get that documentation, if it is a local issue, they must file that document with the local board of elections. So myself and Ken Holmes, the co-founder of the Rockdale Voter, we filed that paperwork before we accepted the first dime toward doing any work toward the no. And the first monies that Ken and I accepted were self donations. They were donations that Ken and I actually donated to the effort. So we knew that those donations weren't going to, there was nothing was going to be donated before, because we didn't start taking donations until after we filed our paperwork. And then Ken and I were the first donators to the committee the Rockdale voters set up to actually oppose the SPLOST. So Ken and I set the committee up. We filed the documents with the Board of Elections, which I have the documents right here on my desk, right there where they've been notarized and signed off by the Board of Elections in Rockdale County. So this week, what I noticed was, and I want to show you guys something. I'm going to pull it up here. Share the screen. If you'll see here that here the arrow is on the no, the SPLOST vote no, which if you'll notice down here in the corner where the arrow is, there is the disclaimer that'll tell you that these signs are manufactured by by the Rockdale Voter. The Rockdale Voter is the organization behind it. Then you'll notice this SPLOST vote yes. You can look all over there, and there's no writing indicating who is responsible for this sign. When you have something like this going on and there's no indication of what the committee is or who it is those signs or any paraphernalia like that are considered to be financed by what they call dark money. And dark money is money that can't be traced or accounted for, and you don't know who's doing it. Well, through some diligence and investigation, I am actually able to tell you who is behind the SPLOST vote yes. And these individuals should have done exactly what Ken Holmes and I did at the Rockdale Voter. They should have filed the paperwork, which they would have got from the Georgia Campaign Ethics Commission. They would have filed that paperwork, and they would have become a legal committee to vote, to get people to vote in the affirmative for that SPLOST, but they didn't. So I do know this, an individual named Fred Straub, who is well known in this community. He sits on a lot of boards and committees and has been influential for years behind the scenes and never gets his name put out in the open. And although he sits on a lot of boards and committees and decision maker, but nobody, they don't ever mention the name. I always get to pull strings behind the scene. Well, tonight, Fred's name is going to be mentioned as one of these corrupt citizens who failed to properly file the documentation to form a committee to campaign and support a non-candidate ballot initiative, and that is the SPLOST. Then he has at least one additional co-conspirator, and it's an individual named Doug Smith. Doug Smith is also someone who sits on a lot of boards and panels in the county. He is currently one of the individuals that is sitting on what I previously referred to as the secret courthouse committee, which is now called the Courthouse Task Force. So Doug Smith is one of these guys who sits on committees, sits on panels, and he's one of these guys who was one of the go-to guys of those in charge. So Fred purchased these signs, and the cost and total of the signs was $537. And Doug picked the signs up and has been distributing the signs. Doug distributed the signs or asked anyone at the last SPLOST meeting that if they wanted any, he had them in the trunk of the car. So these two individuals are individuals that I can identify as two of the individuals responsible for, and I'll put them up here, I'll put it up here again, for this sign being distributed in the community illegally. This is an illegal sign. This SPLOST was introduced illegally because it did not follow the guidelines of introducing projects and cost associated with those things. And not only that, they continued the illegal activities when both Doreen Williams and Commissioner and Oz Nesbitt both have openly supported the SPLOST and indicating people should vote for it by saying the county can't live without it. those elected officials are not allowed to support the SPLOST openly like that and say and indicate we have to vote one way or the other. They're allowed to say, these are the projects we're going to do. Oh, they can't say these are the projects we're going to do because they failed to introduce any projects. They said we have categories, but we don't have projects. And we don't have a new SPLOST committee for this new SPLOST if it was passed, because they said they'll do one of them later. But, you know, guys, this sign, and I'll blow it up, this sign is a legal sign, because you can see right here is the disclaimer on the large signs that we have that say SPLOST stop the abuse, vote no. On the bottom of it is the disclaimer, the rockdalevoter.com. So the Rockdale Voter Group has followed the law. We've put our disclaimers. We've identified ourselves as the organization that is doing this. Of course, the other folks would not identify themselves because that's an illegal organization. They're an illegal committee. This is a group of corrupt local citizens that are using dark money to finance a campaign operation, which is illegal in the state of Georgia. Once they met that $500 threshold, they were actually required to actually file that report before they started raising money. Before they started raising money, they were required to file that report with the local Board of Elections. They failed to do that. I have confirmed with the local Board of Elections there is no such file on report. This sign is being illegally posted. That's not even the worst part of it, guys. Let me tell you the worst part of it. I was informed by the Board of Elections that there was an inquiry made by the code enforcement as to whether those vote no SPLOST was a legal committee or not. Did they have the authorization to put those signs up? And the Board of Elections did inform code enforcement that yes, that was a legal committee. And then the person from code enforcement said, I do see their disclaimer is also on their sign. They have identified themselves. And the Board of Elections did say, yes, that those signs are legal because that organization followed the law and they filed with us as a committee that would be opposing a ballot question. Guys, I'm just going to tell you right now, we are fighting an uphill battle because the rules don't apply to certain people. The rules don't apply to those that get appointed to these committees, these corrupt local citizens like Fred Straub and Doug Smith. Because Doug Smith shouldn't be allowed to be on this courthouse task force. He's going to have an ethics violation against him. Because I'll tell you, and you know why? Because on Friday, I will be sending in an ethics violation. And I'll tell you, you guys see this right here. This is the code that was violated. OCGA 21-5-30. That is the Georgia code, the Georgia law that was violated. I will be sending a certified letter that will be notarized and have all the information that's required with return receipt. I will be sending that to the board of the Commission on Ethics to Atlanta. I will also be hand delivering a copy of that complaint to the local Board of Elections so that everyone is aware that I will be filing an ethics complaint against these two individuals for operating an illegal committee with dark money. This kind of nonsense has to stop in this county. I informed everybody from the beginning on this show 2 months ago, over 2 months ago, that the Rockdale Voter had filed their documents, had became a legal committee to oppose the SPLOST. 2 months ago, I had informed this community. So, guys, we've got to not stand by and let this nonsense happen. We've got to move forward. We've got to take this county back. Enough is enough. We follow the rules, we follow the law, but those in charge don't. From the beginning to the end, this SPLOST has been tainted with corruption and law breaking. Corruption and law breaking. This committee does not oppose the SPLOST. We think if the SPLOST itself is used properly, it's a good financing tool. But it must be used properly. It must be used for special purpose projects, not essential spending. Any project that this SPLOST spends money on should not be essential. And if we don't spend that money tomorrow, then it's no big deal. A SPLOST was never intended to be a supplement and supplement any county office or any county department. A SPLOST was solely intended for special purpose projects. And if we have become dependent on the SPLOST and we can't survive without the SPLOST, then that means we are spending that money illegally. That money is not supposed to be used as essential funding. It's as simple as that. And as long as we have corrupt citizens behind the scenes that are willing to do anything that these elected officials ask them to do, Fred Straub, Doug Smith, then what can we expect? You didn't follow the rules. You set your own rules. And then you sicked people on us, the people that did follow the rules, probably not thinking that the code enforcement would ask the Board of Elections if our signs were legal. They would just yank them up. Well, they are. They make us, this is absolutely ridiculous, people. Absolutely ridiculous that this kind of activity occurs in Rockdale County. Absolutely. We are becoming the laughing stock of the metropolitan area. The laughing stock of the metropolitan area. This is totally ridiculous. We've got to put an end to this type of behavior. We do not need citizens like Fred Straub and Doug Smith representing us on committees any longer. When these individuals are found guilty of this ethics violation, they should not be allowed to serve on any committee. And as far as that goes, we need to look at some of the financial records in the county. And if we do, I believe Mr. Straub is the agent on record of selling different, being the real estate agent on record of many of the purchases that the county does. This individual should not be allowed to make money off of us, the citizens, and serve on all these different committees and do all these backdoor deals. It's time to stop all this nonsense. It's time to put an end to the favoritism and the cronyism that goes on in Rockdale County. Guys, we need to defeat Doreen Williams. We need to send her packing, and we need to defeat this SPLOST. If we do these two things, we send a message. We send a strong message to these elected officials in Rockdale County that enough is enough and a day of reckoning has come. It's time to send a message to the citizens who think they're above us, like Fred Straub and Doug Smith. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. So, guys, I'm going to tell you something else here. The Rockdale voter will be joining efforts with someone in Rockdale County. We will be joining efforts with former Chairman Richard Odom. The Rockdale voter will be joining efforts with former Chairman Odom in collecting emails. These will be email signatures. When you do the email, it will be counted as a petition signature. We want to collect between 500 and 1,000 signatures, which we will do via email, that will be requesting a forensic audit of the county's finances. I've talked to Ken Holmes, and he will be setting this up on the RockdaleVoter.com. This should be available tomorrow morning. We will put a post up on this week from Rockdale. I'll get Alex to do it on This Week in Rockdale. I will do it from my personal page. I will do it from Cox from Rockdale. We will do it from the Rockdale Republican Party. We will do it from the Rockdale Voter. But we will be joining efforts with former Chairman Richard Odom to get 500 to 1,000 signatures through email petition from the citizens of Rockdale County requesting a forensic audit. After a long conversation with former Chairman Odom, I feel that he has some insight. The former chairman states that he believes if a forensic audit is done and the correct things are looked for, that we will find some things in this audit that we will not be pleased with. Chairman Odom believes that the citizens have a right to know how the taxpayers' money has been spent by this commission. Chairman Odom believes that a forensic audit will expose some spending irregularities that the public needs to know about, and it will expose corruption. That's exactly what Chairman Odom believes. And after a long conversation, Ken and I both agreed that the right thing to do is to join efforts with Chairman Odom and assist him in getting those signatures, getting these emails sent to the Board of Commission. We will also be collecting them personally, so that I would love to get more than 1,000. I'd love to get 2,000, 3,000 guys. And I'm going to ask each of you to share this information. Share it with your friends. Once I let you know it's available, share it on the next door. Corliss Turner has an organization. Corliss, we'd appreciate you sharing it with your group, because together, and it's going to take us together as a group, as individuals. We leave party politics to the side when it comes to Rockdale County, because Rockdale County needs to become one. Rockdale County needs to work as a group. We need to work as a group of citizens to do what's best for Rockdale County. We don't need to act like the Fred Straubs and the Doug Smiths of this county. We need to act like the Larry Coxes and the Richard Odoms of this county, and work together and do what's right for the county. So that's what I'm going to ask you guys to do. I'm going to ask you to work with us and get some things done. Because that's the only way that we'll be able to get these things done, is by working together. This is, you're right, this is beyond Republican or Democrat. I'm going to put what CJ put up there just now, because CJ, it's a good comment. CJ wrote, "We are beyond Republican or Democrat. We are too small for that. Let's come together and get this county back." And I agree 100%. This has nothing to do with party politics. This has everything to do with people. This has everything to do with a good, livable Rockdale County. This has everything to do with a Rockdale County that we can all be proud to live in. And part of that is to demand that we don't want the same people serving on these boards. We want citizens. We want different people on these boards. Doug Smith and Fred Straub have served on too many boards. And with this act of corruption, with this illegal SPLOST committee and dark money on this campaign, it's proven they can't be trusted, and we don't need them serving on anything anymore. So, we may even do a petition to have these two characters removed from anything that they're on, and especially when this ethics violation is filed against them and they're found guilty of not following election law. And hopefully the book is thrown at them to the full extent of what it can be, because we've had enough in Rockdale County. We've had enough of the nonsense, and it's time to push back. So guys, it's time to do that. Corliss, I'm not certain if Fred has a nonprofit or not. That's irrelevant. this is a voter election issue. Uh, the this sign is requires a yes committee. It requires the committee to file with the Board of Elections. It requires them next Monday to file, which they can't because they're not a committee. They didn't file the paperwork. Next Monday, the Rockdale voter will be filing their financial documents showing what we have spent so far and collected in our SPLOST Vote No initiative. And guys, this is interesting because as citizens of Rockdale County, we can make a difference. We can make a difference in this ballot box by showing up, voting no for this SPLOST, say we want to reset, sending Doreen Williams home. Send her home where she belongs. I think Efat Walker is going to be your next commissioner, and I think she'll do a good job. Well, I'm going to put something up, Catherine Lynn, and it's relevant, actually really relevant. I suspect that a lot of people in Rockdale do not realize that the commissioner's race will be decided at the primary. Need you to make that clear, the voters of both parties, so an automatic re-election of the incumbent doesn't just sail through like it did the last time around. What percentage of the people even vote in the prim? We predict there will be 20%, 18 to 20% turnout in the general election. There'll probably be 6,000 Democrat voters, 6,000 Republican voters. The Republican, Catherine, and actually don't look for there to be a lot of Republican crossover because with the governor's race, Secretary of State's race, and all that, Republicans are really interested in their primary. So it'll be up to the Democrats to decide. The Democrats will. So it'll be up to the Democrats to decide that, and like I said, it'll be 5 or 6,000 Democrats that'll actually be casting those ballots. So I would say between 2,500 and 2,800 votes is what somebody will need in that primary to actually be the next commissioner of Rockdale County. The TPS report. This is an interesting thing. Let me put this up here. What Alex just wrote. The county sent out a press release today touting Doreen Williams' accomplishment. It seems remarkable like campaigning so much that I didn't post it. Like campaigning. So, guys, that's, they want to keep their yes people in place, whether it's the yes politicians or the yes people that they put on the committees. And there's why do they put the same people on the committees? Why do the exact same dozen people sit on every single committee and panel in Rockdale County? Why do we just recycle the same group of individuals? Why do they repeatedly put the same individual? What's in it for them, those individuals, to be put on these committees and panels and repeatedly back these elected officials? What's in it for those individuals? Because I know many people who have applied to be on these panels and these boards, and they get overlooked and they don't get chosen. And I know a lot of qualified individuals who don't get, but no, they decide to choose between the same 10, 12 people, the same 10 or 12 core people for the last 2 decades, no matter who's been in office, have been the individuals that are chosen to sit on these boards. It's come to my attention there's probably even an additional individual that's on the courthouse task force that has another conflict, and I need to do a little more research before I say a name out loud, because I've said a couple names out loud today. Fred Straub and Doug Smith. Neither one of them need to serve on anything anymore. Corrupt individuals spending black money on a campaign. But have I said that already, guys? In the chat, have I mentioned Fred Straub and Doug Smith? I can't recall. I think I may have. But those 2 individuals don't need to serve on anything. They don't need to serve on anything. This corruption has to stop in this county. The politicians are corrupt, because their corrupt friends are on all their committees. The politicians are corrupt because their corrupt friends are on all their committees. It's time to put this to a stop. I had heard that there was an organization, there was a engineering firm named Praxis 3, Praxis 3, who had a contract with the county to design a concept building for the courthouse, not the courthouse, but for the Board of Elections, the tax assessor, the license, the tax and the licensing, a couple other of the departments, and they've been meeting since February, and they were going to do a concept drawing of a building that may be built at some time. Well, I understand that there was an email sent out today to county employees defining what was going on, that they have a courthouse task force now. That task force would be looking into space and availability and deciding what was going on. I'm going to tell you my theory about what was going on with this other task force or committee that Praxis was actually working in from the concept stage, design engineering company. Back in February, the Board of Commission felt they were going to get an unlimited PFA. So they had already, because they were calling it a facilities plural authority. So this facilities authority plural, they had already had the mindset that they were going to build multiple facilities. So that I'm assuming that best guess that they were going to do the Board of Elections, the tax assessors, the tax commissioner, and the tag office were all going to be in a building that they were going to do. So, but I think now all that's put on a hiatus now because they only got $110 million instead of the $500 million that they wanted. Big difference between $500 million and 110. You can't do as much with 110 as you could 500. So they're probably in a little bit of a quagmire now, not certain what they're going to do, even though $110 million is a whole lot of money. It's still not enough money to do what they want to do. So they're going to have to regroup, see what they want to do, and decide. Well, guys, I've talked a lot tonight, went over a little bit, but what I'm going to do here is I'm going to recap and I'm going to talk about the elections real quick. Couple things we need to do as voters in Rockdale County. You need to share this. We need to not elect Doreen Williams. Doreen Williams is bad for Rockdale County. Send her home, send her packing. I think she needs a vacation. She needs retirement. You guys can help her out and let her retire. So let's let her retire. Then we have the SPLOST. We can reset this SPLOST by defeating this SPLOST, regrouping, and reintroducing it the way it's supposed to be introduced, with projects and special projects and not maintenance projects. This SPLOST needs to be introduced properly. Then we have some ballot questions. We have some ballot questions that really I think need to be answered. One ballot question on the Republican side: do we feel that we should build a courthouse at Parker Road for less than $40 million as SPLOST? Answer yes to that. Do we feel we should build a courthouse in Old Town for $150 million with bonds or loans? That's a no. The Democrats actually asked some good question too. Should an alternative location other than Old Town be considered for a judicial facility? The answer is yes. Then they also ask you about, should a county manager be considered in Rockdale County for the day-to-day operation? The answer is yes. The Republicans ask us, should we go from a 3-member board to a 5-member board? The answer is yes. Should we have districts that these commissioners are elected from? The answer should be yes. So I'm encouraged. And there's one of my favorite questions. I was in Henry County last night at a meeting, and some Henry County people told me they liked this one question. They knew the Rockdale County ballot, and they liked this question and wish they could actually answer the Rockdale County question. It is, should the Rockdale County Board of Elections replace Terry Oates? And the answer is, oh, hell yes. That's the answer to that. Oh, hell yes. And the biggest thing, vote no for that SPLOST. And guys, this is an illegal committee led by corrupt individuals. Fred Straub, Doug Smith. I'll leave you with that. Thank you for indulging me tonight. And like I said, it's probably going to piss some people off. But when you're going to run with the big dogs, you better be a big dog. See you later, guys. Tune in Sunday for This Week from Rockdale with the Sunday edition.